Howdy, folks. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Finally, we got it going. I was kind of worried there for a second.
I was too. I was like, oh, I better start letting everybody chat now, guys. We might be having some issues here.
I kept pushing go live on Zoom, and it turned from red to blue, and then I'd go looking on YouTube and not live, and finally I closed that out and opened it back up, closed it out and opened it back up, and here we are. So what are we talking about? Observing the future. What is the future that you want?
Oh,
see,
I can truly see us turning everything around and having a very good future, a future beyond our imagination, actually.
We definitely can, but it's going to take action and not just a lot of talk.
Yeah, well, it's funny too. They just, said they announced this new king, and they're saying that he's going to be bringing in that Jasara plan, and they would be activating the Nisara plan, and that's debt forgiveness for everybody. So people would be celebrating pretty big.
Yep. There's another thing you can experiment with using love. Boy, don't we need a lot of that right now. It is a little more difficult than sending love, which is easy. Even if you do not think you know how, love knows how, as long as you have good intentions. Let us try to go beyond what we have talked about. What do we know about time? Maybe we can interact with it in more ways than we would think possible at first. If love is timeless, time neutral, and we flood ourselves with love, how can that affect us? Also, the mind is timeless or time neutral, even though the brain is not. Is something starting to come through for you? And for those of you who have already thought the question, yes, it can. You see, you may have more control of the future than you think. Your physical illusionary mind-created holographic future, mental and spiritual future, is interconnected and interacts with each other all the time. The physical and mental existences are separate, almost identical reflections of each other, and all subject to the creation of the mind. Sorry for all the metaphysical expressions in quantum physics, but you need to know this so what is coming later will make sense to you. Metaphysics is the teachings of what we do not understand. There's a very thin line between metaphysics and quantum physics, and they often overlap. Visualization is a form of creation. What you have visualized is created on a mental level of existence, which is timeless and always under construction. It is stationary in time, if you like. Everything in the physical universe was created by thought projected into a mental existence first. We will find that one of the greatest minds of theoretical physics, Stephen Hawking of Cambridge University, is right in saying that it appears as the universe was created from nothing. Not to speak for him, but he probably means from nothing physical. And since we have gotten all the way down to thinking the singularity is the smallest particle in the universe, we have a problem. What created the singularity, and what happens if we cut it in half, conceptually? We understand the latest definition of singularity to be a particle so small it has no mass, no energy, and no time. If that is the case, is it still physical? I was always taught that everything physical had to have mass, energy, and be subjected to time. We may find that the singularity in the rest of the universe was created by a single thought that multiplied itself into a wave and is now everywhere. Real quick, that makes sense to me because, like I said, in the beginning, it had to be a thought or something because there is no beginning or end. It just is.
That's what I saw.
So,
I can't really explain it any other way than it was a thought, and the thought produced a vibration and a sound and a color from the basic thought. And then it went from that into symbols and geometry and down into matter it goes, But
so in that case, there would definitely have to be a multiverse.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it wouldn't be any other way.
It's like the thoughts are like drops of water in an ocean. There's so many different realities based on our perceptions.
Yep. They're all little bubbles. Maybe that's the circles upon circles upon circles upon.
Yeah, round and round we go.
Yeah. Back to the story. We may find that singularity in the rest of the universe was created by a single thought, that multiplied itself into a wave and is now everywhere. This single particle was love, universal consciousness, or God. This is what the universal consciousness is trying to convey about it. Stephen Hawking has an incredible mind, and he may already know this, but he cannot put it into the scientific community this way. They would never buy it. That has to come into stages. As the human consciousness on Earth expands, it will be fun to see how this unfolds. So why not start visualizing what you want in the future? Set a date attached to an emotional event by which it will be attained. And by the way, at the end of this, we're going to do another moment of silence, and I want to make us visualize a better outcome for what we're seeing today. So
awesome.
Visualize it in detail, color, and put emotion, feelings, and love into it as you build it. This will take a while to engineer the way you want it. When you create it with feelings and emotion, you are speaking to the universal consciousness in its language. Keep visiting it in your mind often, and be specific in the details so you get a good visualized, colorful picture of your mind creation. The more you travel the path in your mind to this creation, the more you are solidifying the path back and forth to the creation in the future. You are laying down attractor strings to it. Once you have thought it into existence on a mental level of existence in the future, start flooding it with love. Bombard it with love until it glows like a star. When you're going there in your mind to flood it with love, see if you can leave a string of light from here and now to there in the future. All this solidifies it in the future, and it binds it to you in the present. Remember, the future is not locked in stone. It is like clay, and you can mold it. It is just that most people do not know how. Having goals, New Year's resolutions, and dreams are only half of the equation. Those are all at a conscious level and have no meaning to the real you. You need to entrench it in on the subconscious mind as well. That you can do at the tail end of a meditation session. When you're breaking in on a total silence and you speak to the subconscious mind and the universal consciousness. When you're done speaking your requests, flood yourself, your intention, and what you're asking for with love. This is one of the secrets, or something similar, many of the billionaires in the world are using to build their empires. This and a big heart of giving is what many of them engage in every day. Everything you have been dealing with here is timeless, or better said, time neutral, since it is all in the present. Would you like to expand your mind a little further? What if you could go and really have a close-up look at what you have created in the future? Would you do it? You may want to wait with this until you have practiced with love for a while and feel more comfortable. If you're going to go forward to have a look at the future, you should do it with care. You are combining physical, mental, and spiritual activity you have never done before, and there are few people to learn from. If you do it, remember, you're only there to observe and not to interact. You will want to meditate on it first. To start out, you should be lying down in a quiet and comfortable place where you will be alone, because while you are traveling, you may not have the same presence of mind as you usually have. Doing it while walking, sitting in a party, or flying airplanes may not be a good idea, since we do not exactly know what will happen to our physical body while you're traveling and not at home to mind the store. In your initial meditation, tell the universal consciousness you will return to this place, this time and this timeline. Then fill yourself and surround yourself with love so you shine like a sun. Visualize yourself walking out, always surrounded with the bright white light around you, and a taxi cab is just driving up. You get into the taxi and the driver asks, "Where to?" You tell him your desired time, date, and year in the future. You hear him say, "We will go there." The taxi starts moving and you drive into a tunnel. Everything goes dark except the lights on the taxi and the light of love around you. You may want to replenish the light around you from time to time. If you lose the light love around you, it most likely will not work. You should drive for a minute or so and emerge from the tunnel. From there on, it is up to you. You can go and find a newspaper to find out what is going on, or go and visit yourself in your creation, but you're best off to observe from a distance. You can talk to yourself because your future self already knows you have done this. Never touch your future self. There are two schools of thought on that, but I prefer to be on the safe side. Theoretical physics indicates that if you touch your future self, you could create a paradox or end up creating a quantum bridge back to the past. If you start interacting and making decisions in the future, you most likely will start making a new timeline, which will create more future possibilities. It will contaminate the future of the timeline you were in, and possibly all the way back to the starting point now. If you end up in a different timeline, you may not come back in this timeline at all. If that were to be the case, you would never know the difference because you would have no memory of the timeline you departed from because it never existed. Where you end up, that is the hologram you will play out from then on. That would most likely be a non-scheduled event, and it would interfere with your previous life purpose and related issues. This would make things really complicated on the spiritual side and miss opportunities to learn for you. To return back from the future, you should go and look for the taxi. When he shows up, tell him you'd like to go back through the same timeline, to your same year, and to the same time. The driver will confirm. Observe going through the tunnel and return to your starting point. Keep the love and light around you during all this, and you cannot hurt yourself. But I just know. So, and when I just know, I know. Anyway, I'll be back Thursday, I think. I'm just going to go ahead and put Brian Lunsford on the spot. Me and Brian Lunsford will be back Thursday night, whether he likes it or not. So, until then, folks, be the frequency you want to receive. Get out there and spread some love and light. Until Thursday, I love you all. Have a wonderful night.